Hey, how y'all doing? Hope y'all doing well. Real quick for anyone who's curious, I'm Josh Bacon and I talk way too much for a neurotypical person. So instead of continuously talking to the void, I'm posting some of my tangents online. And today, in honor of Disability Pride Month, I'm going to be talking about a very important disabled person. Me. So, like I allude to in my intros, I am not neurotypical. I am very much neurodivergent. More specifically, I have ADHD. And although ADHD and other neurodivergencies are very valid disabilities and conditions, that is not the thing I'm going to be talking about today. However, I will be talking about my neurological condition. So no matter how you look at it, my brain is all types of weird. So my condition is very special and unique, you could say. It's contradictory in the fact that it is very common, but also rare. The name of my condition is Chiari malformation, and I am going to give you 3 definitions, 2 from different websites and my own personal one. So the definition on the Mayo Clinic, yes, I know that name is weird, but just bear with me. I don't know why they called it that, I'm just a messenger. Anyway, the Mayo doctors say Chiari malformation is a condition in which tissue from the lower part of the brain called the cerebellum goes into the spinal canal. It happens when the skull is shaped in a way that is not typical or when the skull is smaller than usual. Because of that, the skull presses on the brain and forces the brain tissue down into the spinal canal. A Chiari malformation is a structural abnormality in your skull that causes part of your brain to move into your spinal canal. You may have mild or severe symptoms or no symptoms at all. It usually leads to headaches and difficulty with balance and coordination. Surgery may help. Now, my personal definition is that I am quite literally too big-brained. Because that's what it is. In the most simplest of terms, my brain is too big for my skull. And so because of that, my brain seeps out of my skull and partially into my spine. And the spinal fluids reach my brain. And that's just the more medical or technical definition. Obviously, with my brain being crammed in my skull, I have other problems. That's a problem within itself, besides or without it having spinal fluids touching it. Having a brain cramp is not good, even if spinal fluids weren't touching it. And on top of that, I also have a brain misplacement, which basically means one part of my brain is sitting on another part that it's not supposed to. With that information being said, Chiari malformation is a very interesting condition for a variety of reasons. One of them is the fact that it's a condition that gets worse over time. I wouldn't say it gets worse over age or it gets worse with age, but it does get worse over time. I'm not capable of doing the things I was able to when I was 16. Mind you, I'm just 19 now. When I was 16, I was capable of consistently lifting weights for the most part. I'm not able to do that anymore. At the very least, not to the same extent as I was before. Also, quick thing, I'm doing all this off the top of my head, so if I end up repeating myself, saying things like, so with that information being said, and so on and so forth, it's very interesting, it's very unique. That's why I'm kind of just speaking right now. I'm literally in my room at 11:32 at night. I'm low-key kind of tired, but at the same time, I'm very talky, so figured I might as well do it. It's my voiceover day, and I'm sitting down on my bed, fan blowing on me because it's hot in my room, and my laptop adjacent to me. So, yeah, this is not the most put together thing. There's not my usual full production, but it doesn't need to be for this. But anyway, I feel like one of the things that makes malformation very interesting and unique compared to a lot of other conditions, at least the ones that I know of, is that, one, there are different types. But with that being said, or within those types, there are people who can go their entire lives while having malformation and they don't know that they have it at all. Which is crazy to me, because I knew I had it when I was about 7 or 8 years old. Because there are 5 types of malformation, ranging from 0 to 4. 4 and 3 are extremely rare. So, from what the research I've done, hardly anyone really talks about it because of how rare it is. There's treatments, but when it comes to online information, most is going to be about type 0, 1, and 2. Type 0 is not the most common, but it's one of the ones that people can go their entire lives having it and not know at all. Because for them, it may manifest as a simple thing of needing glasses and needing to take some Tylenol. There's type 1, which is similar to type 0. They usually need glasses, they usually need Tylenol, but they also have other problems or other symptoms, I guess would be the more proper and technical term, on top of that. So they'll have struggles with balance and walking. They'll have struggles with like seeing certain things. I'm gonna look it up, actually, hold up. People with type 1 care malformation would have things like more severe headaches, need a stronger prescription for glasses. They will struggle with their balance and coordination, which would affect their walking. And there's also a chance for them to have a tingling sensation or numbness in their hands. And then there's type 2, which is what I have, which the jump from type 1 to type 2 is crazy. And with that being said, I made a list of all my symptoms, because like, I need to know for when I go to the doctor. But also, alongside the malformation and the brain displacement, I also have a spinal protrusion and a nerve irritation because of it. And so keeping a list, so that way when I am able to go to the doctor, I can be like, okay, what's because of the malformation, what's because of my other nerve stuff. But based off the research I've done, mostly everything I go through is because of the malformation. The nerve irritation might exacerbate it and amplify it, but the malformation is the cause. So with me, have said that, the symptoms include, this is a long list, it's a full page, so bear with me. Dizziness, fatigue, nausea, throwing up, throbbing pain at the back of my head, pressure buildup in my head, possibility of passing out, collapsing, lack of balance, lack of coordination, struggling to talk, struggling to swallow, poor body temperature regulation, vision problems, borderline dyslexic, muscle spasms, spontaneous laughter, screaming, cognitive functions, just struggling, and breathing. So to go a bit more in depth, so some things are self-explanatory, like dizziness and fatigue. Things like nausea and the throwing up, I have not gone through that in years. Those were symptoms that I went through when I was 8, when I first started having symptoms of the malformation, and it started to manifest itself in my day-to-day life. So it's not something I have to go through on a regular, like at all. But things like the pressure buildup, the best way I can explain it for people who don't have it is think like your sinuses have just been going crazy. Like you can't blow your nose isn't running, you're just congested, and you feel all that in your brain. Take that and amplify it by like 2 or 3, and that's what I go through. The pain, when I say throbbing pain, yes, it is, the whole thing of like it just throbbing, but with the malformation there are multiple types. So there's the traditional throbbing pain, and then there's the one that feels like somebody is poking me in my eye. It feels like if someone were to take their finger and poke my brain, and so I can feel it from the back of my head going all the way to one of my eyes. And the crazy thing is, with that type of pain, it really doesn't last that long, because usually it lasts for like 5 to 15 seconds, like 15 to 20 at most. And if it happens that long, that's usually when I'm like, oh, that's concerning. But it doesn't last more than like 5 seconds usually. Same with the stabbing pain, because the stabbing pain, take what I said about the last one about someone poking a finger through my brain into my eye, think that but with like a very thin needle, and that's how it feels when I say stabbing pain. The ones like possibility of passing out, collapsing, lack of balance, lack of coordination, those are kind of all rolled up into one. Those are usually grouped together. The possibility of passing out, like I said, it's just a possibility. I've never passed out because of my conditions. I've never passed out at all, I don't think. But when I was younger, it would feel like, oh, I'm about to be on the floor involuntarily. And speaking of which, I collapse fairly often now. Like this year was the first time that I've collapsed, like full blown, just fine 1 second, the next I'm on the floor. And it is such a weird and interesting, and if you ask my family, creepy experience. Because usually, not all the time, but usually before I collapse, there are signs to show that I'm about to be on the floor. Whether that's me just struggling to walk and struggling to keep my balance, and so I'm having to use a cane or cling on the wall or the door or something. But the creepiness comes in, again, at least according to my family, is when I start laughing. Because before I fall, I usually have this laugh that my mom calls my Joker laugh, because to her, it makes me sound like I'm about to blow up Gotham City. Because I'll laugh, and then it will be like a slow descent into the floor. Sometimes slow, other times it be like that. If you want a visual representation without the laughing, spoiler warning, spoiler warning, spoiler warning. If you've played Persona 5 and you've seen Makoto's Persona Awakening, the way she grabs her head and like her knees bend in, she's falling to the ground, she's breathing heavy with like, I think some spit coming out, if I remember correctly. That's me. That is how I look like a lot of times. Like literally the first time I collapsed, I pulled that exact same pose. I had my hands on my face, I collapsed, my knees were bent in, I was having a slow descent to the floor, I was like hyperventilating, it was crazy. That was like one of the few times I was like legitimately scared of like, oh, I should probably go to a hospital, huh? Which I'm about to talk about that a little bit more, because like it was such a weird and like terrifying experience. I wouldn't say terrifying, I feel like that's kind of being over dramatic, but I was concerned because it was January of this year and I was in my room for majority of the day. I went to the bathroom, I came back, I'm laughing, I'm on the floor, like I'm laughing at first thinking that I'm just laughing because I can't walk right now, because while I was on my way to the bathroom, mind you, I say on my way as if it's an actual walk, I gotta take like 2 steps. I'm on my way to the bathroom and I am like just struggling to walk, struggling to stand, struggling to keep my balance. I'm having to hold on to the door, I'm having to use my cane, I'm struggling. I am in the bathroom, I'm struggling. I come out the bathroom, I close the door, I'm laughing, I'm like, dang, I can't walk, this is crazy. And I'm thinking this is just legitimately funny, not like funny, haha, but just, you know, this is crazy. And then I take 2 steps past my door. I'm in the middle of my room, I'm on the floor. I'm laughing, I'm hyperventilating, my face goes cold, which that was the part where I was like, oh, am I about to die? Because I was hyperventilating and my face went cold, and I was like, this has never happened before. And so this year has been the year where like a lot of symptoms have kind of just flared up that I didn't even know was a possibility of me having. So it's been not consistent, but it's been something that has happened ever since then. Maybe not to the same extent where I'm hyperventilating and my face runs cold, but there have been times where I've been walking, whether that's in my place or if I'm at Holy Roly doing stuff, and I'm on the floor, like having to take deep, slow breaths. I was weak. I was walking perfectly fine, and it was weak 1 second, and I'm on the floor having to breathe and just like having to cool myself down or warm myself up depending on the circumstances and how my body wants to react. It's genuinely very crazy. The lack of balance, I feel like it's kind of self-explanatory. I have a hard time walking and keeping myself upright. And so there are times where I'm walking perfectly fine for the most part, and then I'll have like a small divot where like my back will bend backwards or to the side. That happened in a Walmart one time in front of my mom. My mom almost started crying. I was like, Mom, I'm okay. Trust me, I'm okay. I'm fine. Please don't cry. I'll be around my mom and my aunt. I'll have little, I don't even call them episodes, I guess moments where my balance will act up. Again, have that same little divot where I'm walking, my back bends to the side, trying to catch myself and then go back to normal. Both of them giving me death glares. Being like, nigga, if you don't sit down. And there are times where I'm trying to help them do stuff. I buckle a little bit, or my back bends, and like, sit down. I'm like, okay. All right, I will. The lack of coordination. Now, that one, it can kind of mess people up, what I mean by that, or like they don't immediately understand what I mean right away. Coordination, I guess in this case it will be more motory skills than anything. So Obviously, other things like hand-eye coordination when it comes to walking and everything else, but motor skills is a huge thing. So when I'm playing games and I'm trying to do multiple things at once, that'd be difficult more so than the average person. And like, I can tell it's part of my head and part of my conditions, because things that I've used to do relatively fine when I was younger, like a year ago, and I still have the muscle memory, and it's not like I haven't played those games in a long time. I'll go back and play them after like a month or two, and then even after I've done it a whole bunch of times, I'm still struggling with it. I'm like, oh, this is what they mean. The coordination can make it to where it's hard for me to talk sometimes. So whether that's between my brain and my actual mouth, so like trying to get the words out of my head and actually saying them, and then other times it's just how my tongue moves and having to focus a lot more on enunciation and actually trying to project and get my words out instead of my tongue just feeling numb. Struggling to swallow. I've almost choked a few times because of this. I remember I was 16. This was before my malformation started affecting me as much as it does now. So back then, I thought I was just being weird. I didn't look up my symptoms and everything else. But I remember I was eating in my room. I almost choked on my food. I almost choked on my water. Mind you, this the same meal. And I'm like, I'm about to die. I'm like, what do you mean I forgot how to do basic human functions? What the heck? It wasn't like a year or two later where I thought about it. I looked it up. I was like, does malformation affect swallowing? Yes, it does. I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Poor body temperature regulation. Now, this is the symptom that bothers me the most. Because here's the thing. It has a benefit, but that downside does not outweigh it. My body temperature regulation is absolutely abysmal. Because here's the thing. I can stand outside in 15-degree weather, if not colder, without a jacket for like 10-15 minutes and be perfectly fine. However, the moment you place me within a room that is hotter than 75 degrees, I'm sweating. Even like on an average basis, like average day-to-day basis, I am exuding such a copious amount of body heat to where any room that I am in, if I have the door closed, the temperature of that room rises like a solid 5 degrees. And I wish I was being overdramatic. I have 2 fans in my room because of how hot I am. And I'm like, nigga, at this point you call me Yang Xiaolong because I'll be burning up in this place. And the crazy thing is, water doesn't really help that much, like at all. If I really want to feel cooled down, I have to either 1, eat ice cream, 2, go in a colder room and stand in front of the AC, or 3, stand in front of my fan, which I know doesn't sound that bad, but mind you, I have a box fan. I don't have a tower fan anymore because I wasn't able to clean it and it broke on me, and I don't have one of those standing oscillating fans neither, like the circle fans with the stick to it with the base. I don't have that no more, and so my fans are on the floor. So if I want to be in front of it, I have to sit on the floor, which really isn't that bad until I want to sleep. Which, crazy thing is, most of the time when my body temperature regulation is off and I be burning at 80 freaking degrees, it's always at nights. Not always, but most of the time it's at night. Right now I'm burning. Not the worst it's been, not the worst it could be, but I'm still hotter than normal. Like, I literally bought a cooling pillow at Aldi's. The excitement I felt where I bought that pillow, I was so glad. And here's the thing, it's not nearly as cold as it felt when I was in the store. And it's really no colder than a normal pillow. However, it cools down significantly faster than my other pillows, which is the benefit. So, and it's long too. I think it's like 4 feet tall, 4 feet long. I be holding that thing like it is a life support. I be holding onto this thing for dear life, like it is a life raft in the middle of the ocean, and I was abandoned. I love this thing so much. I am so glad with this purchase. Best $17 I have spent, at least in the year. I'm not gonna say ever because that's a bold claim, and I don't remember how much a lot of stuff cost, but this was, I'm thankful. I am extremely thankful for whoever made this, because this pillow is amazing. And Division borderline dyslexic. Again, I feel like that's kind of self-explanatory, especially like I said, with the others, glasses. I do need glasses, or my prescription is stronger than most people who have malformation type 1 and type 0. The borderline dyslexic that stems from the swapping of letters, blurred vision when I'm trying to read. Sometimes when I read, letters be swapping and merging and switching places. That's been a thing since I was like consistently a thing where at least I can remember it. I was 13. I want to say it probably started before that, but I remember being 13 or 14 rather, and I was telling one of my siblings, I was like, I be reading and letters be swapping and merging, and they were like, are you dyslexic? I'm like, I don't know. Muscle spasms, again, kind of self-explanatory. My body be spazzing. Y'all probably have seen it in the video at this point. Not even probably, y'all have, because like I've edited some of the video. I know what I'm keeping in. That time where my hand randomly clenched up, not even all the way, but just looked like I'm trying to claw a nigga, and I hit the counter. Yeah, that was my hand spazzing. And so my hand will spaz out sometimes. My back will when I'm laying down. My legs will randomly. And the spasms are so weird because it's like I'll be fine 1 minute and then the next it looks like I'm having a seizure on my bed. I've had spasms so bad to the point where it's like my arm, I am literally having it like lifted up by the elbow, if that makes sense. Like my elbow is pointing up because my arm just folded all within itself. I'm not really controlling it. There's been spasms where my arm is behind my back and it looks like somebody is holding me hostage, like some invisible person is about to break my arm. Those are crazy. And I try my best to control it while I'm in public because I don't need niggas thinking I'm crazy. Which, that's something I'll talk about too, the whole thing of how my conditions affect me in public. But anyway, to wrap up that list and like explaining stuff. Screaming, cognitive functions, breathing. Breathing, I've said it before or earlier, the hyperventilating. But also sometimes I'll be walking and I just randomly need to be like, and then go about my day. The screaming. This goes to the laughing thing, what I said about me collapsing everything else. The best way I can describe the feeling behind those episodes, I guess you can say, is that it feels like energy welling up inside me that needs to get released. Because when stuff like that happens, I can try withholding that energy and keeping it in, but it usually does not go well because I either start spazzing out, which my spasms in that case are even more unique than what they already are, because if I try to contain them or stop it, it just ends up moving to a different part of my body. So if I feel like my hands are spazzing, then it will just go to my shoulders. If I try to stop in my shoulders, it will go to my neck. If I try to stop in my neck, it sometimes will go to my head or back to my shoulders. So there's that. But it doesn't just manifest in spasms, it also manifests in, like I said earlier, screaming and laughing. And sometimes I just be needing to punch something. And so it's actually very funny. It's not that funny, but a while ago when I was helping my aunt move, I had another one of those episodes. And so I'm in the road, or like I guess driveway, whatever, and I am laughing. Mind you, this is my aunt's first time seeing me like this. My mom and the sibling that's with me, they've seen it before. They don't like it. They still find it creepy, but they've seen it. My aunt, this is like a brand new experience for her. She's creeped out. She's like, nigga, what the heck is happening? What's going on with my nephew? Do I need to restrain this nigga? Like, why is he laughing in the middle of the road? Because my mom and my sibling are trying to get me to sit down. Me being stubborn, I'm like, I'm trying to help with this move. They're like, nigga, sit down. And it's times like this where I'm glad that I never had the head clenching, needing to punch the ground or the wall type of flare up in front of my family. Because if I have, I would probably be in a psych ward right now. Once I finally sat down and rested a little bit for like 2 minutes, they were asking me like, what the heck is that? And I'm telling them, I'm like, oh yeah, I either have to laugh or scream. I figured laughing would be less concerning. They're like, no, next time just scream. We can handle the scream. Your laugh makes it sound like you're about to go on a killing spree. Please, don't do that again. If you can control it, don't do it again. We'll help you, but is you gotta pick between the two, pick the screen. I'm like, okay, noted. Also, I like to say, I know with me saying this, it may sound like my family is like dismissing my conditions or make it seem like they have control. Like, they know that I don't have complete control over this stuff, and they take my conditions more seriously than I do. This is just how we joke around. So I don't live in an abusive family, okay? Trust me. Love my family very much. Now, the cognitive functions, those mostly things like remembering and my ability to like think and everything else, but also my ability to read. So going back to the whole borderline dyslexia thing, sometimes it's a thing of me like just struggling to see the words on the paper. Other times it's just my brain almost refusing to understand what's on the paper. Like, it can see the letters, but it's not actively trying to read. And that's annoying, especially because like half the time I read on instinct. Like, I'll just look at something and automatically read it without meaning to. So the times where I'm trying to read and my brain is like, ha, yeah, no, I'll be clocking out right now. Screw you. It'd be annoying. It'd be annoying. But yeah, that was the whole list. I know this seems like a lot because it is, but the malformation, it simultaneously is not as bad and worse than what I make it out to be. It does definitely cause some challenges from like a social standpoint because of the fact that my conditions aren't visible. It's not like you could see someone who is using a wheelchair and automatically knows like, okay, they need accommodations. While a lot of people, they'll look at me and unless I'm walking with a cane, they won't take my condition seriously. And this isn't necessarily things that I've gone through completely, just things that I know happen because of like other people's experiences with non-visible disabilities or other people who have malformations or something similar. Because I've had to go through things like that before, just not this big. It hasn't been a major amount. It's really only been one person, and that's been my father. It took so long to get my dad to understand like the severity of my conditions. And it doesn't help the fact that I am plus size. And so when I tell my dad things like, hey, I'm not able to lift weights, or I gotta be careful, like if you want to start walking around doing stuff, like I have to be careful because, you know, try my best not to stray too far from the house, constantly stay hydrated and do everything else. And it took so long for this man to like understand the severity of it, because like I think the thing that got to him was me comparing it, or like, okay, basically I had this, I'll even say analogy. My mind's drawing blanks right now. Like I said, it's like basic. It's past midnight at this point. But I was talking to him and I was explaining how my conditions worked from a technical standpoint, or like what causes me to flare up. And I was telling him that for me, my conditions are heavily dependent on 5 things. That being my food intake, my water intake, my sleep intake, physical strain, and changes of elevation. So I was telling him how for a normal person, they could go about 3 hours not eating or like running on empty, but still being able to like, you know, move around. But then once that 3 hours hits, that's when their body is like, okay, we need water, we need food, we need to do whatever. While for me, it'd be like 30 minutes to an hour. So my threshold for a lot of stuff is lower. So I guess the easier way to understand it, if someone else can go about 3 hours without eating, or 3 hours being hungry before they get the shakes, I only have like 30 minutes. And that's a real life, like closer to real life comparison, and not it being over dramatized for the sake of example. Because for me, when I'm hungry and my body is like, hey nigga, you should probably eat something, it really only takes like 30 minutes to an hour before my body starts to like clock out on me. So that's the thing. And then there's the whole thing like on the social side, or like the more, yeah, like being part of society, having to like in a way control my symptoms or my episodes, because, you know, I would really hate to collapse in the middle of a store, would really hate to collapse in the middle of Aldi's, would absolutely despise that. Same with the laughing and the falling and the screaming and the randomly having to punch stuff. Yeah, it's a lot, and I'm like, I do not want people seeing that. And also, that'd be a lot for my family to deal with. And I'm like, I'm not trying to go through that. Like, I want you to imagine seeing this 6'5" behemoth looking like he getting into a fight with an invisible man, and he's about to get his arm broken. That's how I'd be looking like when I'm home sometimes. Like, I be trying to control it when I'm around family. And you think I'm gonna do that in front of a whole bunch of strangers? No. But yeah, the malformation isn't... Okay, I was about to say all bad, make it seem like there's some good parts to it. But it's not extremely debilitating, at least for me. I'm still able to move around relatively fine. I can still work out, I just have to be careful about how I do so. So, for example, I can't lift weights, at the very least not the same way as I used to. Like, I can't do the whole 30, 50 pounds like I was when I was younger. I'm still capable of lifting that weight, but it's just not advised at all, because that could just exacerbate symptoms and make them worse. So now I have to do more cardio and focus more on walking and biking and stuff like that, which isn't that bad at all. It still builds muscle, at least the cycling does at least. I kind of just have to be mindful, because that's really what it boils down to. It's just have to be mindful and adjust how I do certain things. So like I said with the whole working out stuff, before I had specific body goals. Now, not really. It's kind of just whatever happens, it happens. As long as I'm able to move around and be stable, I'm fine. Learning to take breaks and how to work with my body, because I've always been someone who valued breaks and self-care and everything else, because it's I can't keep doing this or running on empty. I want to make sure I can still do the things I enjoy doing without any negative emotion side to it. So it's been a thing of making sure that I understand what to eat, because having malformation while having ADHD is such an interesting experience, because the ADHD in me makes it where I forget to eat sometimes, especially when I'm in a flow state, but the malformation makes it where it's that's not an option. So now, before I could go a while without eating, it wasn't advised, it was not healthy, but it was something I could do. I can't do that anymore, and so it's okay, I'm not gonna make this work, because now I'm too caught up in this, especially if I'm in the kitchen, because now I'm too caught up in making whatever cake or cookies or whatever I'm doing. But now I need to kind of clean this stuff off to make food or put something in the oven and then clear off space, because the kitchen I have now is fairly small. Not even fairly, it's a very small kitchen. Part of the reason why I'm trying to build a table later, so I can actually have some counter space, but that's something for another day. But yeah, saying all this to say, I have malformation. And pretty severe case at that. Living in America sucks. Land of the free, but not really, because everything costs something. I've not been able to go to the doctor in 11 years, and my conditions have only really gotten worse. And so this is what happens when you don't have health insurance. And even when you do have health insurance, doctors and neuro doctors and everything else cost an arm and a leg, and you just kind of make do until your life is actually in danger and you're about to die. So here we are. I'm fine. But yeah, thank you for listening to my ADHD rambles. It is currently 12:20 in the morning. I have recorded basically 40 minutes worth of audio. So that's, every time I do a video off the top of my head, I'm always astonished by how long the recording actually is. I should really stop being surprised. But anyway, I am about to head out. Remember, joy and living happy life is a form of rebellion. Screw the system and anyone who tries to keep you down. Self-care and self-love is important. And be great even if it's in the name of spite. Have a good one. Be blessed. Be safe. Bye.